Hi guys, 1999 Jeep Cherokee 4.0 straight 6. I'm going to be working on an alternator today. First thing I'm going to do is take the battery out so I can get to the alternator. Okay, once you get the battery out, there's a tray here that the battery sits on. That has to come out. There's 3 nuts that have to be taken out. You should be able to lift the tray out. This connector here is going to have to be disconnected, then I'll be able to remove the tray completely. Once the battery tray is removed, you now have access to the alternator. Before removing the alternator, I'm going to loosen my belt so I can take it off of the pulley there. To loosen the belt on this model, right at the power steering pump here, there is a tensioner bolt here. That needs to be loosened. Before you loosen that though, loosen the tensioner bolt. So we have the power steering pulley here. Right under the power steering pulley is the tensioner pulley, and there is a bolt right here. That is a 15 millimeter, as well as the tensioner bolt here. Once you start loosening the bolt here, the power steering is going to shift towards the engine. The belt will get loosened up. If you still can't remove the belt from your alternator, you can remove it from the tensioner pulley here. Just slide it off, remove it there. Then you should be able to easily remove it from your alternator pulley. Before you remove the belt though, make sure that you know how to put it back on. Look for your belt routing picture. If you don't have a picture here on your Jeep, just take a good look at the belt, the way it's put on, maybe take some photos of it. Alright, now that the belt is off, next thing I'm going to do is take off the nut from the lead wire. There's a cap right here. And then right beyond that, you can see that there is a nut that is a 11 millimeter right there. Right below that is it's an electrical connector right here. I'm going to squeeze the little tabs there and pull that off. I'm going to get my 11 millimeter and take off the nut here. So a washer is connected to the nut. Get all that out of the way. Okay, next there's 2 mounting bolts. There is a pivot bolt here with a nut on the end. Then there is a mounting bolt underneath the pulley here. You really can't see that from this angle. Both of those are 15 millimeters, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen this pivot bolt here, and then I'll show you how to get to the lower mounting bolt. Okay, to remove that pivot bolt, I've got a wrench on the bolt, got a socket here on the nut. So it's going to take two hands, so I'm going to stop filming for right now and I'll get right back to it. Okay, I've got the pivot bolt loosened. I haven't taken the nut off or removed the bolt. The alternator that I have here is still good, and the reason I'm working on it today is because whoever put this on before I owned a Jeep, they did not put the second mounting bolt, the bottom mounting bolt, through the housing to secure the alternator. I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know if they couldn't get to the bolt, or they didn't realize they didn't have it through the alternator hole. I'll show you what's going on in just a second. But yeah, the 15 millimeter bolt underneath the pulley, it's kind of hard to get to from the top. I've got my wrench on it here. There's not a lot of room here. You could probably use an extension with the socket maybe, but there's a couple of other ways to get to it that I think is a little easier. You have a small socket wrench for that. Now let me show you how to get to that bolt. A couple of other places. Okay, one way to get to it, get your wrench on it, is to come at the underneath the bumper here. I have a splash guard here. Push that out of the way. You're able to access the bolt right here. So you've got some good movement here with the small wrench. Another way to get to it would be just climb right underneath the vehicle, and let's see the alternator here. You can see that bolt here. You can kind of, maybe you can see my situation. They didn't put the alternator. I've got to take the bolt out. They just put the bolt through the housing, but they didn't drop the alternator down enough to get the bolt through. So that's my situation here. I'm going to take the bolt out and try to drop my alternator down in the housing here. If it doesn't fit, I'm going to have to take the alternator out, make some adjustments, maybe try to open this up a little bit, and then drop it in there and put the bolt back. Well, I had to take the alternator out. I had it lined up down with the bottom holes of that housing. I just couldn't get the bolt through, so now I know why they didn't even put it in. It's pretty ridiculous that they just left it like that. You know, I don't know who did this job, but it's pathetic. But anyway, what happened getting the alternator out, I had to just kind of lift it forward and over to the left and pull it out. Just push your wires out of the way and pull it out this way. So yeah, I couldn't get the bolt through. Had it lined up, but as you can see there, it doesn't go through because that little bushing's in there. So I'm going to remove that, and then I should be in good shape. So here's where I'm at now. Here's the bushing. I tapped that out. To tap it out, I just started with a little small socket here. Tapped it with my hammer. Got it started. Followed that up with an Allen wrench here. Not sure what size that is. But we're clear now. Bolt drops in. So let me go put this back on, line it up, and hopefully I can finish it up. Alright, all we have to do is put the pivot bolt back in and put the connector and the wire back on, and we're good to go. Alright, pivot bolt and nut are tightened on. I just push the connector back on the alternator. Now I have the lead wire here. Slide that on. Got the nut here. I'll tighten that and put this cover back on. Put the pulley back, or put the belt back on the pulley. Make sure that the belt is in the grooves. Put the belt back on the tensioner pulley here. Tighten the tensioner bolt so I get the belt nice and tight. And then I will tighten this tensioner pulley bolt here. That's it, guys. Hope the video's been helpful. Until next time, take care. Have a great day.